ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to give you access to the answer key for the quiz so that you can use this to help you understand problems that you potentially missed, so that you can then earn points back with the point retrieval. This quiz was worth 12 points. Off to the side you can see how much each problem was worth. Number 1 was worth 2, half a point for each. In this problem we are mostly looking at what the A value tells us. So remember, if the A value is negative, that means it flips upside down. So B and D have to match with 1 and 2. The reason that B is number 1 is because that 2 makes that graph skinnier. So that graph is skinnier than D, and so it had to be y equals negative 2x squared. For 3 and 4, again, that value that's greater than 1, 2 makes the graph skinnier, whereas the value of 0.5 as an A makes the graph wider. So A matches with 3 and C matches with 4. On problem number 2, you could have done something similar. You could have actually found the rate of change over that interval for both of the functions and compared them, but you would have had to do that 4 times. So really what we're looking for is an A value that is greater than 1.8, because that would make it skinnier, which would make the rate of change bigger. So K of x equals 2x squared is the one that is greater than 1.8x squared. So D was the correct answer. Problem number 3, we are looking for the interval of the function where the table is decreasing. So we're looking at what y values are doing. Okay, so from -2 to -1, it's decreasing by 9, and then it's decreasing by 3 to go from -1 to 0, 3 to 0. In this case, it's decreasing. So we know that up here, these values must be bigger because that's how a parabola works. So the interval that shows the table is decreasing is then the x values. So when x is less than 0, that function is decreasing. Number 4, A, g of x equals x squared plus 6 is what translates that vertically up 6 units. That 6 has to be on the outside because it's up, it has to be positive. Number 5, the function that translates the graph horizontally left 8 units, that 8 has to be on the inside, so either B or D. And remember, in vertex form, the formula has a negative sign in it. So this one, x minus 8, that 8 is actually positive, which will translate it to the right. Whereas here, this is really x minus -8, where that -8 is telling us to translate it to the left. So D. Number 6, we have to graph this. So in order to graph this, we have to find the vertex and the axis of symmetry first, and then plug in 2 points. So in order to find the vertex, we know that this is really x minus -1. So the -1 is our x value, the 2 is our y value. And the axis of symmetry comes from the x value of the vertex, so x equals -1. So I graphed that point, -1, 2, and drew my axis of symmetry. And then I chose to plug in what I think are the 2 easiest, 0 and 1. When I plug in 0, I get out 1, so I graphed that point 0, 1 and reflected it over the axis of symmetry. When I plugged in 1, I got out -2, so again, I plotted that point, 1, -2, and reflected it over the axis of symmetry and drew my U-shaped parabola. Number 7, the answer was B, x equals -2. To find the axis of symmetry for standard form, you use -b over 2a. So -4 over 2 equals -2. On number 8, we automatically can cancel out B and C because they are telling us that the maximum height of the ball is 72 here. Remember, we want vertex form to find the maximum height. That is the vertex. So A and D give us this maximum height of 72 that we're looking for. And then in order to change it to standard form, we have to multiply the x minus 2 squared to get x squared minus 4x plus 4. Distribute the -16. and then combine these like terms at the end. So we end up with negative 16x squared plus 64x plus 8, which is D. And lastly, number 9 was to graph the function that is in standard form. So we have to find the vertex, the axis of symmetry, and the y-intercept. The y-intercept is the easiest point to find. It's this c value here, negative 2, so 0, negative 2. Then I'm going to use negative b over 2a to help me find the axis of symmetry and the vertex, which is x equals 2. Plug in that 2 to get out negative 4, so the vertex 2, negative 4. I plotted that point here, drew my axis of symmetry, then plotted my y-intercept, reflected it across the axis of symmetry to get another point, and then I plugged in 6. When I plugged in 6, I got out 4, and so I plotted that point, and then I reflected it across the axis of symmetry as well, connected into my U-shaped parabola. Please let me know if you have any questions. You can email me at nduncan@wwps.org.